This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
We are into the fourth quarter of 2023. Can you believe it? It is time to start looking ahead to 2024. And one of the things to look ahead to is kind of changes that could come next year for programs like Social Security and how's that work into your overall retirement plan. Join us today to find out. This is Financial Insanity. Out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. Alongside, as always, I'm Alex Dingman here with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group in beautiful Waretown, New Jersey, Ocean County. And Scott, tell me, my friend, as we enter quarter four, is it too early for Christmas decorations? Where do you stand on that? As far as Christmas music, decorations, when can we start doing that?
Alex, I had a bunch of kids, and I think I bought Christmas trees on the 24th because they were cheap.
Right.
But if you're not going to be cheap, you know what? It depends what kind of spirit and mood you're in. Man, it's a great time of year. Giving actually starts in the heart, Alex.
Yep.
You know, giving starts in the heart, and that's where it should really start. So if you're going to start giving, put your Christmas trees up. Go tip the waitress a little bit of extra money and wish her or him a Merry Christmas. You know, start to get this Christmas holiday. We are in a funk. Right now, the economy is up and down, and inflation's high. There's all good reasons to be negative. But you know what? You're above board. If you're walking, you're seeing, you've got friends out there. You know what? Turn the frown upside down. Let's be a little bit more happy, because I can tell you, it's easier to be more negative than positive. So I challenge you out there. If you're negative, change it. You can change it. And you know what? Christmas is around the corner. Try to have the Christmas spirit. If you don't celebrate Christmas, maybe it's Hanukkah, or maybe whatever your religion is, but have the spirit of giving and helping other people, Alex. That's why we've been doing this show for so many years. We don't ever try to sell anything. It's just educating people and giving them the knowledge they need to make the right decisions. You know what? Decision time is critical, guys. We are in, like Alex said, the fourth quarter. If you've got questions, please don't sit them on the shelf and procrastinate to buy your Christmas trees on the 24th like me. Give our studios a call if you have questions. 609-488-4646. No cost, no obligation. I am here. We've been doing this for so many years, 40 plus years. You know what? And even though the information changes year to year, the information is the same. And I mean, the same processes. And so this is so important. So we are in the fourth quarter. What have you done out there to fix your money? That's what I'm wondering people are doing, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have any questions, the number is 609-488-4646 for Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. And you hit on a few things there. I used to be a little bah humbug when it came to, I used to think that people were starting Christmas a little too early. You know, it seemed like we're in October, we're already hearing music, decorations. That used to bother me. I think honestly, Scott, I think COVID made me kind of soft. And now I'm to the point, you know what? You want to talk about Christmas before it's even Halloween? Let's do it. So that's where I'm at. And I also love your point about giving. I mean, that's really what this time of year is about. We think about presents. We think about food, getting together with family. All that is great. But it really is a great time to give, to think about those people or those organizations that need your support. So that's a great thing. And I'm on the fence about a real tree, whether it's worth it or not. I've done the real tree. But man, when you have that fake one that's in 3 different pieces, you just bust it out every year and you take a second and it's already got the lights attached, you plug it in and boom. That's pretty nice, you know? So I'm still on the fence about the real tree thing or not.
And have all those little needles to clean up after.
Right.
But I do like the smell. I do like the smell of those Christmas trees.
Yeah, but you can get that smell, you know, in different ways. But anyway.
Bottle.
Yeah, different show, different conversation. Scott, What about Social Security? Are there any changes, anything that we should be thinking about as we enter a new year here pretty soon?
There are a few things, some of you out there, if you haven't taken Social Security and thinking about taking Social Security, there is 560 different ways to take Social Security. And the number one way versus the number two best way could be over $100,000 over one's lifetime. So make sure you get the proper advice before you turn it on. I mean, this year we're looking at a 3.2% increase for 2024. And so you think about that. Of course, that actually it was huge last year. Now it's gone down, but inflation is ramping up, and they've taken out several different areas when it comes to Social Security that they don't keep up. So it's not keeping up. Plus, they increased the Medicare costs. So, and I want to help you guys out there. If you haven't seen your report and haven't taken Social Security, go on socialsecurity.gov and get your report. I know you're waiting for it in the mail, but don't wait and pay attention to that. Several times they make mistakes on your earnings. And by paying attention, you can catch that ahead of time to make sure you're getting the most out of what you paid in. And then, of course, which is the best option, which we spoke about in the very beginning, Alex. Those are a couple quick ideas. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on Medicare as well. My question about Social Security, but it's very important to think about changes for Medicare in 2024 as well. And what about some things there? As usually prices go up, not down, when it comes to everything. But are there changes to Medicare that we need to be thinking about?
You think about change of Medicare. Number one, pricing, and when you have Medicare, you might want to shop it out. You have a certain period of time. Now we're in Medicare season, October. So number one, you might want to shop it out every single year because, frankly, they can change. Or maybe your prescriptions need to be changed and you need to go on the government site and find out who the best prescription plan is to reduce your costs. So you've got to pay attention to these small details. I don't know about you, but I use GoodRx, and I will be getting on Medicare this year. I start on December 30th, my birthday. So actually I'm getting excited. I get to pay less in my insurance. But how does it work for me versus you? This is the discussion you should have with your financial advisor, or maybe you call Medicare, or you give us a call at our studios, because this is, again, another area. And of course, Medicare costs will be going up. And of course, prescription drugs should go down based on the Bidenomics, which I think is, I'm not going to say a crock, but I don't want to turn our audience because I'm against him or not, but I think a lot of things they're just full of bananas right now. What's being said. So pay attention to Medicare and how that'll be affected.
Yeah, if you have questions about Social Security, Medicare, anything, 609-488-4646. The number, Scott McLean and McLean Advisory Group here in Waretown, 609-488-4646. And this is going to be different for each person, but generally, Scott, where do things like Medicare, Social Security, how do they fit into the overall planning process?
Wow.
I know, it's a big question.
It really fits in everything. This is why when you do your budget, if you're married or single, running your budget, seeing what the cost is, what plan should you take, should you take a job, part-time job, just to cover health coverages. I know a lot of our seniors are doing that. Maybe they got a part-time job, don't make much money, but it covers a lot of their benefits. These costs can be extremely expensive if you're living on a fixed income. And if you're living on a fixed income and you have your money allocated into the wrong investments, you could see a big dynamic change in your portfolio. You think about the stock market. Think about you guys. Remember January? Here it is, January. The stock market right now should be going up a little bit. But if you look at the Standard & Poor's 500 and you just go year to date, where are we at? Why is this important to Medicare? Well, because this is based on your budget, looking at money, pulling out money from your investments. How do you pull out money from your investments? Where do you pull the money out? Let's take a quick walk in the stock market. The market is up 10.2% So far, year to date, I think we're in the month of October right now. And I think about October, I think it's the middle of October and almost the end of October. So it's up 10%. So the advisor might say, well, you're up 10%. But if you go 2 years out, you're down 6.5%. So when a person says we're doing great this year, okay, well, how have we done over the past 2 years? You're down about 6.5% based on the S&P. Some portfolios could be down 20% based on bonds. This is why you look at your Medicare expenses, you look at your budget sheet, you look at your prescription drugs and what they're doing. Should you change your drug plan? This affects your budget. This affects, can I go out to eat, or do I have to split the Happy Meal with my bride?
Right.
Can I have a wonderful meal by myself, or can I take from friends? Can I take my kids out? Alex, this is really important, paying attention to your budget, your allocation of your money, where the money's invested, and how can we get a great return, especially when interest rates are now all-time high, and what could happen if it starts to go down. And I don't think people are aware, Alex. You may not even be aware of this. As I was reading some reports of the interest rates, you think about Medicare, if the Fed has to refinance about 30% of treasuries over the next year, 30% of treasury bills have to be refinanced. You might not know it out there. You're going to see a rumbling in the market. So do you think the Fed wanted to pay less interest on that refinancing or more? Well, that means I think the yield curve is going to slowly come down. So where should you invest to win? We haven't seen this. By the way, I'm an old dog. I'm almost 65 December 30th. I will accept presents. But I can tell you, when you think about this, this could be a absolutely wonderful opportunity. If you have income and you want more income, pay attention to the yield curve and what's happening right now. This is an awesome opportunity, guys, out there, especially when you're choosing, again, back to Medicare, the choices for your plan. And in my case, I'm taking Medicare because I have to. Of course, my wife doesn't need it. She's a little bit younger. So how does it fit in your total overall family plan?
Scott, are you just going to plug your birthday every show until the first of the year? Is that what's going to happen?
I'm going to plug it until I get a present.
Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. And Scott, I want you to, as we're talking about Medicare, Social Security, this all fits into a comprehensive retirement income strategy. And I know that when it comes to this strategy, you take the 3D approach. If you would, tell folks about that here, and again, give that number out.
When I meet with people, Alex, in real short scenario, I love to talk about their dreams. What does retirement look like? There's nothing worse than planning a trip to Florida and how you're going to get there, or maybe to California. You put a roadmap out, and now you're ready to retire, and you don't put that roadmap out. I'm going to retire next year. What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do you visualize it? I want to know the dreams. And how do you protect those dreams? Well, with the dollars. Number 2, the dollars. Let's talk about the investable dollars. I was just with a lovely couple, and I found out they took the lion's share of their money into one investment vehicle. And they asked, well, what would you do? Well, if you were my client, I wouldn't put all your money in one vehicle because you say it's protected. Because frankly, that's a huge amount of money over abundance. I want to know what your dollars are doing. Will they last? Will they last a good long time? And what kind of money do we need to pull out? What reason? While you're living, while you're enjoying your dreams. And then what if your lights start to get dim and you have to go to the nursing home? How are we protecting those dreams? Which leads into number 3, your dynasty. You're passing your assets on. This is the 3D process. I walk through people through this valley of a shadow of death for some people because it's new. How do we protect it? This is the game plan.
609-488-4646. That number for Scott McLean and his amazing team at McLean Advisory Group out of Waretown, New Jersey, here in Ocean County. Thank you so much for listening today, as this is Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity, and more to come.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646. Investment advice is offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
By the way, I'm an old dog. I'm almost 65, but I will accept presents.
Scott, are you just going to plug your birthday every show until the first of the year? Is that what's going to happen?
I'm going to plug it till I get a present.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Who is most likely to be comfortable and confident with their retirement? Doesn't that sound nice? Well, there are a few things you can do to help secure your financial future. Scott with us to break it all down. Let's start here. As the Employee Benefit Research Institute did do a study, found that retirees who say they feel comfortable in retirement have done the same 4 things. How about that? So we're going to share those 4 keys with you all today. The first one is going into retirement with little or no debt.
Boy, you know what? This is the biggest challenge I face. I had a beautiful couple come in yesterday. They were 80 and 84. They had $50,000 to their name. And I asked them, how long you've been retired? Oh, Scott, we retired in 2003. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Almost what's that, 20 plus years? And tell me about your situation. They had a $200,000 mortgage. They were spending, as she said, well, Scott, we're only spending out of our accounts $1,000 a month. And so I'm thinking, okay, and we're living our Social Security. So I bought that. I bought into that. Mm-hmm. And I said, do me a favor. Could I see your tax return? This is where the 3 blind mice come in, Alex. I asked to look at the tax return. Alex, the tax return showed me they were pulling out $24,000 a month. Oof. They had $50,000 left. I had to give them the bad news. And I said, well, how long have you been with your advisor? Oh, we've been with him since 2003, 2004, and we retired. I said, when he or she got with you on a yearly basis to explain how money works and how your money's going to last, what did they say? And they said, well, they just said, move my money around. Alex, they had their money in the stock market.
Yep.
And it risky. And they were down 20% year to date, 20%. I said, well, wait a minute. Last year, the market was up almost 20%. So you were spending the earnings. I didn't tell them what I was seeing on the tax return, Alex. If you have a tax return, number one, and you have debt, pay attention. Because when I looked at the tax return, I looked at the debt situation. I said, you guys are taking out $2,000 a month out of your savings. You have a $200,000 mortgage. And when you pass away to the lovely young man of 84 years old, I said, if you pass away, your wife is going to have to make some serious decisions. And so the serious decision is you got to sell the house, you got to downsize, you got to move in with the kids. But no one had that, I call it a come to Jesus meeting. Let's talk about the brass tacks. If you have debt right now, let's focus on it. And when you pay down debt, you don't pay down the highest interest rate. The biggest mistake is you pay the highest interest rate card when you should do, write this down. If you're listening, if you can remember one thing right now, just one thing, rolling debt. I want to roll down or pay down my debt through the snowball effect of paying down debt. This is critical. If you need help on that and you have debt, please feel free to call me off the air, 609-488-4646. Scott, when you say snowball, how do I snowball my debt? How do I pay it off quicker? Please call me. Unlike this couple I had, they didn't call me at 609-488-4646. What they did was they kept living the same life, and the financial advisor in their life never guided them through all of the areas, looking at the tax returns, the legal documents, as well as their portfolio. So snowball debt. Number two, the most important, of course, paying down your debt. The most important thing, of course, is paying off as you snowball down the debt. How much cash do we have in the sideline? I asked this lovely couple. Oh, we have a couple $1,000s, but we pay our bills off every month. Well, we just refinanced, Scott. Oh, is that to pay back the credit cards? Yes. How much in credit card debt do you have now? They said $8,000 in credit card debt. So what they're doing is they're using the credit card. They don't feel the impact of the debt until it comes due. Then they pull the money out of the IRA accounts, causing more taxation. This is double dumb. So please, Alex, you brought a big point on the first thing in retirement. Let's take a look at the debt. Let's go ahead and have a wrestling match with the debt. And let's go ahead and get this in control.
And we're talking here today with Scott McLean about the 4 keys to a comfortable retirement. And Scott, I must say, I saw you on TV the other day. Obviously know about the radio show. We know about the book. You're everywhere, but it's very important to you to educate people and just talk about that, Scott, about getting in front of people and why you think that that's important.
I think that's my calling, Alex. I love educating people. My one area was heading out into the field, the mission field, and of course, called into this financial industry. And what I found is the lack of knowledge people have, and they need guidance. They don't need to be told. I am my favorite class, Alex. You'll never guess what it was. It was show and tell. Because I could talk about something, show people things, and show them how it works. And I was in kindergarten when my daddy brought back, children all over the world, and he traveled. He opened up plants and spoke 6 languages. My dad was brilliant. And one thing I waited for is when he got home and he opened his bag, he showed me presents. And when he gave me a present, gave my sister a present, I was able to use that to show and tell. Show and tell is important because I need not to tell people what to do, but guide them into making smart decisions with their money when it comes to retirement. This is where the lost art of advising is. People want to sell, but they don't want to educate. They want to tell, but they don't want to walk them through the valley of shadow of death because they think everything's okay. But meanwhile, they've got a left hook wave coming at them that could disaster them, as the young couple I just spoke about. And I had to tell that young couple we just spoke about, Alex, that you need to sell your house, go to low-income housing, use that money, or move in with your kids. I guarantee you, they probably don't like me. And if they're listening right now, I love you. I'm giving you tough love because comfort, sometimes you have to sacrifice comfort for how do I make sure that if my wife passes away, if I pass away, husband pass away in this case, how can they survive and enjoy life? Isn't that what it's about, Alex?
Absolutely. No, 100%. And the less you have to worry about, the better. And one of the things we worry about the most, run out of money in retirement. That's a real concern. 609-488-4646. And so talking about 4 keys to a comfortable retirement. First one, going into retirement with little or no debt. That sounds tremendous. The second key to a comfortable retirement, having a clear spend down strategy. Scott, what does that mean?
Spend down strategy. Not only spending down your debt, but spending down your expenses. Alex, if you're out there right now listening, I'm not preaching to you. I promise you I'm not. I'm trying to help guide people make smart decisions. And spend down means, well, maybe to me, it means something important. Can I live on a lower means? If you're living on, let's say, $100,000, and then all of a sudden you look at your retirement, you think you have a ton of cash in there, and the advisor says using the rule of 4%, well, do you have enough to live comfortably? Maybe you need to start cutting things out. Some people have said, well, I'm going to go ahead and just buy one car this year, and my wife and I, or my spouse and I, my significant other and I, we can use one car. Maybe it's not going out as much. Maybe it's sharing, and as we did in our church, go have a covered dish dinners and all get together and still have fun, or maybe have people come over and share. Spending down. Maybe you don't have to buy as much clothes. Maybe getting a smaller house, as we're talking to many people. So spending down strategy and paying attention to the numbers. Both spouses need to get together and look at what they're spending and put a spreadsheet together. If you don't want a spreadsheet, because no one likes the cuss word, the B cuss word called budget. No one wants a budget, but I can promise you this. When you're coming off a juicy income and now you're retiring, you need to sit down and figure out what can we live with, what can't we live with. And the biggest cuss word is this, Alex. The biggest cuss word on top of the word budget is no. When your kids want to borrow money from you and you're spending money, this couple is telling me, well, my lovely child was getting a divorce, so we helped him out. What'd you do? Well, we paid her debt down. Is that where the money went? Yeah, a lot of it did. We wanted to help her. I said, why'd you do that? Because that's our child. We wanted to help out. Well, the emotions and practicality, I'm not telling you guys to hate me on the radio right now, but you got to look at this is about you and your love. If you're married, your lovely wife or partner, you've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention to your money. And as you look at your money, can we afford giving our child $10,000, $20,000 to pay their debt down? What does that look like? If you don't have a financial advisor, run the numbers several different ways. But if you don't have an advisor and want to ask a question, please feel free to call me off the air, 609-488-4646. The reason why is because you might just need another opinion. I'm not going to tell you what to do if you decide to call me at 609-488-4646. But what I'll do is I'll give you my input. And 41 years being in this industry, I've seen a lot of people make decisions that maybe they should have asked somebody else, because I can tell you the decisions you make today may affect you, like in this couple, and it's affecting them right now. They could be running out of money. Don't put yourself in this situation, Alex. They don't have to do it. Feel free to give me a call if you wish to, but I want to help you.
Hey, Scott, a lot of times it's just that big picture. It's just not being able to see the big picture, and you wanting to solve that problem right now, wanting to help that person in the immediate, wanting to satisfy this desire right now. But Scott, it's really about the big picture and how it all comes together. You couldn't
have said that better, Alex. And when I see the big picture, it happened to me yesterday when I was heading to the office, and I asked my wife, where I need to get where's the napkins I got to take with me as I'm driving to work from the farm out in Southampton. And I said, where's the daggum napkins? And she goes, Scott, it's right in front of you. There's a big roll of napkins in this.
Right in front of your face, Scott.
It was, Alex, it was dead. I mean, like, I'm looking all over the place.
Sure.
I'm running to go out. I want to be on time. And it was right in front of me. If your retirement is right in front of you, you probably need someone to run it by, because they are able to. If they're an advisor, they should not be wanting to sell you products. They should be wanting to help solve a problem or a solution or a problem that may be coming down. This is the difference between an advisor and a salesperson. Why? Advisors should be looking at the taxes, the legal, and the financial, and then possibly problems coming down the road. And so I can tell you right now, Alex, when you look at the spend down, if you've been doing this thing as long as I have, and other advisors out there, they've been doing it a while, the question is, how are you getting guided? Not sold a product, because anybody can sell a product, but educated on what to do. You don't want to buy sneakers when it's snowing out. You probably want to buy boots. Unless you're going to play basketball in the gym, then you might want sneakers. But again, buy the right tools for the right time.
609-488-4646. If you have questions, you can call Scott, 609-488-4646. Just add a .com for the website. Breaking down the 4 keys to a comfortable retirement. More financial insanity on the way.
It's nice when you get everything on your list in one place, isn't it? Scott McLean from McLean Advisory Group agrees. That's why he offers comprehensive retirement planning all under one roof. You shouldn't have to go one place for tax planning, another for estate planning, and another for retirement income planning. That's why McLean Advisory Group was started. Scott wanted to build a company that could help families with all aspects of their retirement planning. McLean Advisory Group is more than just convenient. They're knowledgeable and experienced. And for answers for your questions, you can set up a meeting with Scott and his team to talk about your retirement. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. Use the same number to reach the team online. 609-488-4646.com. Investment advisory services are offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax or legal advice.
A study from the Employee Benefit Research Institute finding retirees who consider themselves to be comfortable in retirement have done the same 4 things. And so, Scott, first, let's recap the first 2 keys to a comfortable retirement we went over. Number 1, going into retirement with little or no debt. And then number 2, creating a clear spend down strategy. So, taking us to the next key, having some sort of employer provided assistance. Talk about that one a little bit, Scott.
You definitely want to get the employer-provided assistance like your 401k. If you have a 401k, make sure you're matching it. You might have a 403b, which is a nonprofit, same as working as the 401a, and you want to make sure the money's put in the right investment choice, especially now. In addition to that, if you're, I think it's 59 and a half and older, you're allowed to do what's called a in-service withdrawal. Most plans offer an in-service withdrawal. Let me give you a heads up. Based on the stock market taking a real challenging time this past year, and perhaps going forward for another few years, I believe. Perhaps if you're in retirement, you're planning on retirement, you take that money in the 401k, 403b, if you're over 59 and a half, and you roll it out of the plan and put it into some guaranteed accounts. That's right. Or put it into an area, let's say roll it into an IRA. And as you roll it over into an IRA, you still contribute to your 401k, 403b, 457, your TSP. Still keep contributing. But on the money that you pull out and put into IRA, you have the universe of investments to go into. Let me tell you what a universe means. You're not just stuck to the, quote, portfolio they offer, the mutual funds they offer. You're able to go outside into an IRA account, and in this IRA account, you're able to get individual stocks, bonds, preferreds, REITs, BDCs, MLPs, all sorts of yummy types of investments. Maybe you're going to buy managed futures or hedge funds or maybe commodities. You need to be able to be, I should say, flexible and able to go when in most of these plans, they don't have it. The second thing is on top of that, maximizing your 401k out and then doing an in-service rollover to perhaps other vehicles out there that are perhaps they've got some guaranteed vehicles like I've seen lately of 5% and going up. Maybe you need to participate in the prepaid legal plan because you need your legals done. Perhaps you get a prepaid legal plan that's very pennies on a dollar, or maybe you're going to go into the, I think it's called the Hyatt legal plan. Great product. See if they have that. And I would definitely look at that to keep your legal expenses down for your will, power of attorney, living will, healthcare directive. Maybe you need a trust. So your legal aspects. And from that, we talk about your healthcare savings account, your HSA. As long as it's portable or you're using it for yourself, the spouse, make sure the HSA is funded, or the FSA. The FSA is called the flexible spending account. I love when I see people are really cranking that up, because they're cranking it up means putting money into it as long as you can take it with you. You don't want to put it in and then lose it. So you might need to speak to your department there at your work and to see if it's, I don't want to use it or lose it. You don't want that plan unless you have a lot of medical expenses. Then you're tax deferring the money. In other words, you get to write it off on your income. And so you make $50,000 a year and you put $10,000 a year in the HSA. That means your income shows you made $40,000. It's just a tax play. So when your financial advisor looks at the tax return, he or she can guide you. Again, look at all the different areas when we talk about the employer benefit information, as Alex, you well said. And then again, what is your definition of comfortable when you retire? Get that number we just spoke about. Understand, you know what? You've lived rich, you've lived poor, but you're comfortable. What is your definition of comfortable? Not your kid's definition, not your best friend's definition, your definition of comfortable.
Scott, if people have questions about how they can be more comfortable in retirement, how could they get a hold of you?
I'd love to speak to anybody off the air. No cost, no obligation. I promise you that. We've been educating people at 609-488-4670. 4646. Again, love to hear from you. If you got a question, hopefully I've got answers. I pretty much do, or I can call people to get them for you. 609-488-4646.com, by the way. If you just enter .com, it goes right to our website. So you can learn more about my firm and what we do as we grow this firm to helping people make smart decisions with your money, especially going into retirement.
Scott, we'd all love to have a pension, but that seems to be happening less and less. And if I'm not lucky enough to have a private company pension, how can I still achieve a comfortable retirement?
Well, I would really, when you don't have a pension, my best friend, Dale, I won't say his last name, he'll probably be laughing at me, but we talk about retirement. And I myself don't have a pension. I've got a nice corporation. I've got tremendous, wonderful employees you all would like to meet with. I promise you would love them to death. But my friend is getting right now from his pension a $3,000 a month. And if he passes away, his wife gets $1,500. I said, Dale, why'd you choose that option? Because I want the highest rate of return. Okay. Then I asked him the next question. Well, Dale, in $3,000 a month or $36,000 a year, Dale, I am so happy for you. Do you know what the value of that $3,000 a month is? He goes, what do you mean? $3,000 a month? No. What's the real value of the $36,000 you're getting per year? He said, well, I don't know. I said, well, Dale, that's equivalent to me having to have $900,000 in the bank pulling out at 4%. So I got to have $900,000. If you're like myself, you're a sole proprietor, you're a corporation, your firm doesn't offer any retirement pension benefits, Scott has to have, using the rule of 4%, if I have $900,000, which is equivalent to Dale's retirement, well, that means I can pull out $36,000. Now, $900,000 sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it, Alex?
Yeah, sounds like a nice chunk of change.
It sounds like you live forever, 900,000. Sure. Oh my goodness, lump sum 900,000. But your best friend is in your back pocket called, well, it's not best friend, actually your worst enemy. It's called the IRS or Uncle Sam. And the IRS wants a piece of that 900,000. So how you strategically have income for life, there are vehicles, Alex. Once you determine how much you need and comfortably need, there's vehicles out there that could give you an income for the rest of your life for you, your spouse, your significant other. And then on top of that, when you plan for that, you might want to make sure, for those of you that have a significant other or your spouse, you might want to think about putting your assets into a trust to protect it from nursing home expenses. I see a lot of financial advisors out there forgetting this very vital part of planning is, how do we protect the assets? Well, maybe we need to have a irrevocable trust with a special provision so we can have this step up in basis. This is, again, part of the planning, not just money, but the whole holistic picture, not a simplistic picture.
Talking about 4 keys to having a comfortable retirement. And we just went over the having an employee-provided assistance. We're discussing a pension. And if we're talking about having guaranteed income, you got to throw out Social Security as well. So that can be an option for folks. And how do we make sure people are making the right decision there, Scott?
Alex, I forgot that. Thanks for bringing it up, because we do Social Security planning.
I mean, it's a good detail.
Planning.
Yeah, it's part of it, though, right?
And the biggest, here we're in Halloween time, and you could make a mistake. And the mistake they could make is the couple. I got off the phone with this couple this morning at 8:30. And this couple, his wife is taking Social Security. She is 72. And her income right now on her Social Security, and I've spoken to this couple several times, she is receiving right now $1,800 a month on her Social Security, and she's 72. Her husband, we were doing this meeting this morning. Her husband is 68, still working, not taking Social Security. And I asked him, I said, why aren't you taking the spousal benefit? See, he can claim the spousal benefit. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm looking at my notes, and every year I've been asking you about this, take the spousal benefit because you do qualify because the laws have changed on Social Security. Well, she was getting $1,800 a month. He is past the full retirement age, FRA. If you look it up on your statements, guys and girls out there. Well, hers was $1,800. Did you know? And I said, why don't you apply for the spousal benefit, not your benefit, right now? And I'd like you to right now go ahead and you're able to take $800 extra a month. Keep working, but you have an extra $800. Now put that in your 401k, in his case, the FSA. And I said, increase your savings. He said, I could do that because of all of the choices that you have in Social Security. By the way, Alex, there's 587 different ways to take Social Security. Can you imagine how people get confused?
Yeah.
And the number one way, Alex, versus the number two could mean an extra $100,000 of income over one's lifetime. So choosing the right Social Security when you go into retirement, this is like the three-legged stool: cash in the bank, savings or retirement account and pension money, and then, of course, your Social Security. Those three entities, and I throw in one other entity, which is not the leg, but taxation. How can I make my retirement the most comfortable for my spouse, my significant other, my partner? How can I make that? And this is where you have to look at your investments, your savings. Maybe you want to move and build that new house. Let's take a look at the whole picture, not just one piece of the picture, which I see these daggum investment guys and girls. They look at one thing, what can I get versus how can I help?
Well, and again, it's that big picture, Scott, like we mentioned earlier. It's how everything plays together. And when you're making your Social Security decision, it's the big picture as well. Yeah, one thing might look real good in the immediate or in a couple of years, but over the long haul, what is going to make the most sense? And so as we wrap up this segment here, give people an opportunity. If they have questions, how can they get a hold of you, Scott?
Please feel free to call me, 609-488-4646. That's my radio studios. You'll get me. Now, if you don't get me, please, when you call 609-488-4646, speak to my staff. They are wonderful. And see, I'd like to speak with Scott. I know he's busy because we're servicing our clients. They're number one. Tell them you want to speak to Scott and give him a quick heads up what it's a little bit about, and I will make time to speak to you off the air in a private conversation, or perhaps you would like say, Scott, I want to come in and have a come to Jesus meeting. Okay, great. Bring you and your significant other if you're married, or you maybe have a partner. Come on in, here to help you. So give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. By the way, happy Halloween. So you'll get the treat you deserve by planning now.
Scott McLean and the amazing team at McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646.com if you want to see them online as well. This is Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. More on the way.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646. Investment advice is offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Scott speaks about savings down by the seashore.
Oh, man, that's great. That's great.
Back to Financial Insanity with Scott McLean and co-host Alex Dingman.
It seems like nowadays everybody just goes to that cell phone, puts in the address, and then just stares at it, and it tells you exactly where to go. But I remember not that long ago traveling with my dad across the country, and he literally would pull out the map Big old map. He'd roll through that thing. We'd be circling highways and making marks with pen, and we would get there, and it would be a lot of fun. Alex Dingman here, along with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, Financial Insanity. And maybe that sounds insane to some people nowadays, Scott, to be actually using a physical map instead of just that cell phone. But we're going to talk about that retirement roadmap today. And Scott, special guest with us. Exciting here. We have an advisor who works along with you and has been in the financial industry since 2009. George Costanis is with us as well. George, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this roadmap.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And Scott, what kind of a traveler are you? Are you just using that cell phone now and just, really brainless about the whole activity at this point?
I am brainless. My wife and daughter always make fun of me because, Dad, why don't you remember where you're going? You're going to get Alzheimer's. You got to stop doing that, Dad. Quit using the Waze app. I said, well, it's very easy for me. And you couldn't have brought it up better, Alex, talking about using a map. I remember using a map myself when I went to Florida to college in Nyack, and the map's flipping upside down. It's blowing in the breeze. It's all over the map, and you make a wrong turn, you have to recalibrate everything you're doing again, and then you lose time, lose effort, lose energy. Then you're starting to maybe say some four-letter words you never said before, and you get upset. So, but again, by the time, like you said, a good fun retirement or a good fun road trip comes with bumps in the roads, maybe flat tire or getting lost, and there's nothing worse than getting lost. So, Alex, thanks for sharing us the Waze app. Many people are out there using the Waze app. Today, I wanted to talk about, Alex, you asked about a very important thing, which is why I brought George in as an advisor at our firm for such a long time. I call it the McWaze, the retirement McWaze. The Waze app, we'll call it McLean Waze, the McWaze, because retirement comes with a lot of challenges. I got a phone call this morning, and he said, Scotty, a guy named Ken goes to our church. He says, Scott, I just can't fill out this form to get my taxes reduced. And I said, Ken, why didn't you call us? That's, you're a tax client of ours. He said, well, I just did it myself. And how many people do things themselves, Alex? They try to do things themselves. And they end up dorking it up.
Yeah.
Freaking out.
Sometimes it's hard to ask for help.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I called the McWays. When it comes to retirement, how can we not flip the map upside down, get detoured, tire flat? Because with retirement, it comes with a lot of decisions.
Absolutely. And that's where you guys can step in. Scott McLean, George Costanis with McLean Advisory Group, really helping guide people through retirement, because you said it right there. You can, hey, have some detours when you're just having a nice leisure drive, but when it comes to retirement, you want to have that planning ahead of time. You know exactly where you're going. And that's where you guys can really step in to say, all right, here's the turns that need to be made. Here's the detour. Here's where there might be a construction zone, that kind of thing, so that you do not have those surprises.
Absolutely. And reducing stress, burning yourself out, having concerns, not knowing what you don't know, that's super important. So having a roadmap in front of you that outlines some of the biggest or greatest pitfalls or road bumps, then absolutely helpful.
I think it's also helpful, Alex, when your spouse, maybe it's the husband that does the planning or the wife does the planning. The challenge if you're listening to me right now and perhaps you're doing all the planning, but what if you get detoured, sick, disabled, Alzheimer's, dementia, your wheels fall off, you go see Jesus? One of those areas are going to possibly happen, and you're leaving your spouse to the unknown, and she doesn't know how to read the map. Perhaps she needs someone, or he needs someone, to help navigate this retirement, because retirement should be the golden years, but I hear a lot of times it's the rusty years. And if you don't have a retirement game plan or a map, it could get you totally off your game. So important to have that roadmap, as George said, because it's psychological. Do I retire? When do I retire? And they're always asking me, since I'm an old bat, I love what I do. The problem is, what are you going to do psychologically first so you don't burn out and be stressed out, and then all of a sudden left hooks come, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's always good to make a checklist before you travel. What are some things that we need to be thinking about when it comes to this retirement roadmap? And we want to plan this out. We want to make sure that we can get there and have enough finances to make it through what we hope is to be a very long retirement. But what are some things we have to think about before
I'm going to
we
have George
travel?
go through that, Alex,
Yeah.
real quick, because this is critical. And if you're out there listening, I'd like to get this in your hands, even though we're trying to make this journey fun. If you get sidetracked, at least you can lean on those people like ourselves who can guide you through it. So this map George is going to give you, we're going to go over to another segment, Alex. We're going to drill down deeper. But I guess I want to have George, when we look at people, when you talk to people on a weekly basis, you probably see 5-10 people a week minimum on top of service clients. What are the biggest things people are failing they shouldn't fail on, they need to get in their hands to plan the retirement?
There's something definitely out there called impact bias, which sometimes when something first happens to you, it seems bigger than it really is. So I personally think it's super critical to chunk this out and take smaller steps at it. And step one is definitely to take a good inventory of what you have first. And then also where you want to be. So step one, definitely take an inventory, everything you have. This could be pension statement, 401ks, social security statement, bank statements, a list of expenses. What do you want your retirement to look like? What's it going to cost? Take that inventory first. Absolutely critical. And then we can move on to the next steps.
When you take this inventory, Alex, I assign, when we meet with people, it's almost they bring one or two things with them, not everything. And I think they don't understand that you need a real good picture. You need the entire roadmap. Well, this is not the roadmap. This is putting the roadmap together. And by putting it together, just like George said, your pension statements, your 401k, your IRA, your social security statements, we cannot play wing it. This is not a wing it. This is no do-over. And hopefully, if we have to try to, if you're in retirement right now and you need some guidance, or maybe you're saying, am I going to run out of money? Which is the number one discussion I hear so often. Am I going to run out of money? What's going to happen? Well, we need to, again, dive deeper. We've met so many people, Alex, who've come to our office and they didn't work with us. And that's fine, because we don't force people. We don't really try to beg or bug them, but we want to guide them. And so when they finally come back and they need someone to walk them through this psychological nightmare, am I going to run out of money? Is my spouse okay? Are my children okay? Can I leave something to them? These are the questions we're getting, Alex.
Yeah. And Scott, George, we just have a couple minutes left, but in those couple minutes, how can people get help with this retirement roadmap? What is that first step?
Well, first of all, is when do I want to retire? Do I want to retire? But the most important, who can I speak to ask about retirement? Who can I trust and feel? Which is why when people visit with us, Alex, just give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Visit with us, 609-488-4646. Ask for Bonnie. They can meet with George. They can meet with myself. Both of us highly qualified. But what I'm trying to tell you is, when you understand when you retire or think about retiring, these dates will change. You get nervous. You're not sure. Alex, I'd like to offer anyone who would like, no cost, no begging, no bugging. If you want a game plan, we're here for you. Come in. Let's have a discussion to see if we can benefit those of you who are making this huge decision, whether you're in retirement or about to go in retirement. Don't do this alone. Let's have a discussion. Why would you deny yourself the ability to get with someone who's done this for years? Give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. Let me see if I can help you, guide you through this many journeys in your retirement. Start getting a plan together. Get this map laid out, Alex.
And talk to me a little bit here quickly about the benefit of having this roadmap. What does that do for folks to come in and fill this information out and really be able to have a better grasp on the future?
What a great question. Personally, I think the biggest part is that most people retire once and they've never been through it. They don't know what the pitfalls are. They don't know what they don't know. Having this retirement roadmap is basically all the things that we have seen, all the issues that have come through, and it really puts together a lot of things that you possibly don't know, that you don't even know, that are headed at you in retirement. And it does a good job of covering some of those unknowns.
All right, thank you, George. And again, that number, 609-488-4646. That number again, 609-488-4646. Just add a .com for the website. This is Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman, alongside today Scott McLean and also George Costanis with McLean Advisory Group. Scott opened up the Veterans Benefit Advisory Group in 2008 to help veterans and their families, guiding them to these important benefits. Again, that number, 609-488-4646. The number for Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. And again, a special salute and thank you to all of our veterans.
This presentation may contain information which has undergone regulatory or other significant change since its original recording. The information on this program is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Discussions and answers to questions do not involve the rendering of personalized investment advice and is limited to the dissemination of general information and may not be suitable for members of the listening audience. Communications such as this are not impartial and are provided in connection with advertising and marketing for McLean Advisory Group. Prior to making any investment or financial decisions, an investor should always seek advice from a financial, insurance, legal, or tax professional. McLean Advisory Group and or Scott McLean offer investment advisory and financial planning services through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC.
This radio show is a paid placement.